We've had an open dialogue in Queensland with our university partners and with our schooling sectors. 6 years ago, there was a task force formed in Queensland looking at the issues relating to initial teacher education and teacher quality. There seemed to be a need between that partnering from when pre-service teachers undertake their preparation to the commitment of our schooling partners as well, through to their induction.
The Queensland Catholic Education Commission, the Queensland College of Teachers, Independent Schools Queensland, Education Queensland were all involved.
What had happened in the past, after review, there was a lot of blame, pointing the finger, misperceptions about what each of our roles were.
That task force designed a series of recommendations which were formed into the Fresh Start strategy that Queensland's been implementing over the last couple of years.
We wanted to get a better synergy between what is taught in the theory component at the university or the higher education institution and what actually happens in schools. So how do we take that theory, how do we actually choose some of those recommendations that we can across those 6 years and say, well, let's make some winners with some of those.
The Queensland Higher Education Partnership Agreement was a collaborative and negotiated initiative that drew together stakeholders from Queensland, each of the employers, teacher employers, representatives from the higher education sector, and of course the state government through the Queensland College of Teachers. And as a result, those partnership agreements have now been signed and have been enacted in all higher education institutions and employing sectors in Queensland.
The key component of it was the Common Professional Experience Reporting Framework.
The Professional Experience Reporting Framework was developed because of the difficulties across the sectors for supervising teachers and for universities in providing consistency of judgments. Each institution had its own criteria for professional experience, and that presented a problem for the supervising teachers.
I think it was really important that when we talk about the professional experience, that there was some clarity of roles of who owned what in the process. There seemed to be different institutions would implement their professional experience in the school in different ways.
We drew together representatives from each of the stakeholders, came up with a final prac report, ran that by experienced mentor teachers for their input and guidance, and as a result those final prac reports are now available for all institutions to use.
The agreement provides a single mechanism of reporting which will allow benchmarking across all schools in terms of providing a quality assessment of a pre-service teacher's practicum.
But also raise the awareness that the Australian professional standards are developmental. Expectations might be such that supervising teachers are looking for someone who's ready to teach rather than someone who is partway through a teacher education program.
I think we've made some really good headway in agreement about that the supervising teacher is a key person in all of that, and that person needs training. You can be a good teacher but not necessarily translate that into a good supervisor. And also they might have a first year, second year and a third year experience in a school, but those three experiences need to be different.
This framework and the supporting documents will help teachers make that distinction between how the standards play out at the different career phases.
The key characteristics of an effective partnership would be, number one, you have to have a mutually beneficial aims and outcomes. We need to acknowledge the roles and responsibilities and the constraints and challenges of each other's work.
What the QCT is working on at the moment is a guide for supervising teachers assessing professional experience, like a companion document, the planning discussions that the supervising teacher would have with the pre-service teacher, what to look for in classroom observations, what sort of information should be involved in the discussion and feedback process. So it's all the way looking at the development and growth of the pre-service teacher.
So it is really an example of effective collaboration in order to achieve a shared goal of quality.
Student learning is always key to any reform we choose to tackle, improving the preparation of pre-service teachers, which is always the hope to improve student outcomes, and that seems to be driven through all of the initiatives and all the conversations we currently have with our stakeholders.